Hey guys, I wanted to record a video that will help you remember what we did at school on Tuesday if you were at school. And if you were not at school on Tuesday, you can watch this video step by step to feel good about your math today. By the way, if you were at school on Tuesday, we are talking about the math paper that you guys started. We did one problem at school, and I asked you to take it home with you so that you could do the others today, 2, 3, and 4. If you feel good about what you're supposed to do with this paper, you might not need to watch this whole video. But if you want a reminder of how to do this, keep watching. If you are not at school and you don't have this paper, you absolutely need to watch. So I'm going to switch my camera over to where you can see my piece of paper. What we are working on today are word problems with division, which can be a little bit different than what we're used to with multiplication. But the one handy tool that will still help us is our Guyp chart. So you will be using your Guyp chart today to help you organize the information in the story. So I can tell you that if you are working on paper today, which is fine, even if you don't have this sheet, you will be writing a Guyp chart on your paper. So remember with multiplication that our G in Guyp is the number of groups of items in our story. The I is the number in each group. Our P, which stands for product, is actually a multiplication word. So for division, we really need to start using the word total, which means all of the things in our story. Or there's another special word, and I'm going to write it right here. It's called dividend, because in division, you have a number that you're taking and dividing, and that's actually called the dividend. So really, some people on Tuesday were calling it the guide chart. And then of course, E is still our equation. So don't forget, this is the groups and the things in the group. These are still going to be part of our story. But our total really is what is going on here. And then our equation goes here. So we're going to read this story and practice together. And then today, when you work, you're going to try questions 2, 3, and 4. And if you don't have this paper, they're typed on the screen. So this story says there are 28 desks in the classroom. So 28 is really important because 28 tells us a very important number in our story. If we ever have stories on paper, we are going to practice circling our numbers. So there are 28 desks in a classroom. That's a lot of desks, but that might be because there are 28 students in that class. The teacher puts them in groups of 4. So here's another number, and these words that come before it are really important. In groups of 4. And this phrase is actually a bit tricky if you're not careful when you think about it. The question says, how many groups of desks are in the classroom? These words right here, how many groups of desks? This right here is already telling me something for this chart. It is telling me I don't know how many groups yet. So guess what I can do right here? I can actually put my unknown symbol in the groups chart because I don't even know how many groups. It told me that. It told me I'm looking for that. This is new. When we did multiplication, we did not have a missing number here. Now, I need to go back and look at my information. It tells me that there are 28 desks that are about to be organized. So if you remember our little bit of talk that we've done so far about division, we've talked about how you're taking a larger number and you're going to take it and you're going to divide it up and you're going to put it into groups. So this number right here means that we have 28 total. So our 28 is actually going to go right here because that's all of our desks. And we're going to take this number and we're going to make it smaller. We're going to decrease it and we're going to divide it out into smaller groups. That means that our 4 is in the group. And I want to point that out to you that it said in groups of 4. So for example, on my paper, I could have drawn these 4 circles here. And that is a group of 4. There are 4 in the group. All right. So before I keep going, I want to point out to you what the equation would be. Again, with multiplication, our equation was already in order for us, but this time it's not. If you think about our story, we're going to write an equation that tells the same story. We have 28 desks, and we are going to divide them in groups of 4, and we're going to look for the number of groups, and we don't know how many yet. That's your equation. This is the story. We're starting with our 28, and we're dividing it into groups of 4 so that we can find out how many groups we will make. So for a strategy, I could do a picture model, which could look like this, where I'm drawing desks in little clusters of 4. So now I have 2 groups of 4. So far, that means I have 4 and then 8 desks. So I need to do this until I get to 28 if I want to do a picture model. So I'm going to try to speed the process up here really quickly. You can always pause the video if you're trying to keep up with me, but I'm trying to do this so I can show you one more strategy. So if I draw all the desks and I keep track of my counting, I now have used all 28 desks, and that means I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 groups. That was my missing number. This teacher was able to make 7 groups of 4. Now, I also could do what I did right here on the side. I could even do what we called skip counting, and I could count by 4s. Some of you might like this method because it is a little bit faster if you know your 4s. And all right, so what I can do with this is I can say I had 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups, 5 groups, 6 groups, and 7. That's another example. There are other strategies we will talk about, but this is a way that I can show what I've done. So the part that can be tricky about division is reading a story and putting our numbers in the Guyp chart correctly. It can get a bit complicated trying to figure out where everything goes, but today when you're solving your 3 problems, I want you to try and use this strategy of Guyp chart first to organize the information, and then to solve it, I would like to see a strategy, even if this is a fact that you already know. Okay, so again, some of you have done this with me at school and some of you have not. I do not want you to feel panicked if you're feeling confused. I want you to know that I'm just asking you to try your best, but trying your best means that I have a Guyp chart and a strategy so I can understand what you did, even if it's not quite right. All right, so you have 3 practice problems today. Do your best, and we'll talk more about it when you're back at school next week so that we can keep learning about division.